Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on how artificial intelligence is being pitched to win modern elections. And look, we're not talking theory here. We're actually diving into a real-world proposal to see exactly how data and AI are becoming the new kingmakers in politics.
All right, let's get right into it. What you're looking at is the new face of political campaigning. It's a platform that promises to do it all: combine voter sentiment, AI insights, and just raw political intelligence. And the goal? Well, it's simple, and it's incredibly ambitious. Use data to win elections, plain and simple.
So here's how we're going to break this all down. First, we'll look at the problem this thing is designed to solve. Then, we'll get into the AI-powered solution and see how it works in the real world. And finally, we'll tackle those big, critical questions about data, privacy, and, ethics.
Okay, so every campaign starts with a challenge, right? For this case study, we're zeroing in on the Indian state of Kerala, where a pretty specific political battlefield was identified for one of the country's major parties, the BJP.
And the political scene there? It is incredibly complex. I mean, traditional campaign methods are really struggling to keep up. You've got voter trust that's totally fragmented. You have younger generations demanding something totally different: jobs, digital opportunities. And on top of all that, there are these historical perception barriers, meaning any message has to feel genuinely inclusive to even land. It's a tough crowd.
So, the key argument here, the whole premise of this pitch, isn't that campaigns aren't trying hard enough. No, it's that they have a massive intelligence deficit. The idea is that modern campaigns are basically flying blind in a few really crucial areas.
First up, they're always reactive. You know how it is, right? Campaigns operate in these short, intense bursts right before an election, but then they go completely silent. This creates a huge disconnect with voters for years at a time.
Next, you have the sheer speed of misinformation. We're talking about false narratives, especially on local language social media, that just spread like wildfire. They move way faster than any official campaign can debunk them, and that gives the opposition a massive advantage. And then there's this concept of ward-level blindness. Think about it. Those super localized issues, the things that matter to people on their own street, can stay completely invisible to the party leadership until, of course, they explode into a major problem, and by then, it's too late.
And that brings us to the final piece: a total sentiment disconnect. The leaders, the people at the top, often have no real-time data on how voter opinions are actually shifting on the ground. They're missing the mood, especially among those key groups that could easily swing an entire election. All right, so that's the problem. Now let's look at the proposed solution: this integrated platform that's designed to close all those intelligence gaps and give a campaign a serious edge.
And the toolkit they're proposing is pretty extensive. We're talking about a high-level voter sentiment dashboard for the big picture, ward-level heat maps to spot trouble early, an AI feedback bot that speaks both Malayalam and English, a manifesto match algorithm, and even a My Constituency app for direct citizen engagement. It's the whole shebang.
This right here, this is where you get that 30,000-foot view. At just a glance, a campaign manager can see the overall sentiment across the country on this heat map. And check it out, right there at the top, the AI has identified the #1 issue on voters' minds across the board: jobs.
But then you drill down to the next layer, and this is where it gets really powerful. That big picture sentiment we just saw, it's connected to this incredibly detailed micro-level database. This lets a campaign slice and dice demographic data and track support right down to an individual voting booth. We're talking seriously granular stuff.
Okay, so that's what it can do, but how would this actually work in the heat of a campaign? Well, instead of just listing features, the proposal gives us a really specific, strategic example of the platform in action.
So imagine this scenario. The system flags rising negative sentiment about water and price rise in the Malabar region. You can see it showing up as orange on the heat map on the left. So instead of guessing, the analytics suite on the right lets the campaign dig deep, understand the exact narrative causing the problem, and then craft a super targeted message to counter it. We're talking about potentially shifting public opinion in a matter of hours, not weeks.
Now, of course, this level of data analysis, this kind of granular targeting, it naturally brings up some really important questions, about privacy, about ethics, and where exactly we draw the line in political persuasion.
Which leads to the big question, right? Where does all this data actually come from? Well, to really get the pulse of the people, the platform is designed to pull in information from a huge variety of sources, combining public data with direct feedback from voters themselves.
One of the key ways is, just asking people directly. Through a survey like the one you see here, users can voluntarily share what they think about core issues.
the economy, healthcare, education. This gives the campaign a direct pipeline into what voters actually care about. But it goes way, way further than that. The system is designed to ingest data from tons of different inputs, scraping social media, conversations with AI bots, voter apps, even feedback from party workers on the ground. Now, to comply with data privacy laws like India's DPDP Act, the pitch says all of this requires user consent, which is usually handled with a simple checkbox.
So, to get ahead of those privacy concerns, the proposal lays out what it calls a responsible AI politics framework. It's built on 4 pillars, promising to anonymize voter data, comply with all the regulations, keep their methodology transparent, and, this is the key framing, position the whole tool as a way to amplify citizen voices, not just to mine them for data.
And this really leaves us with a final, crucial thought to chew on. When technology gives political campaigns the power to listen, analyze, and respond to the pulse of the people 24/7, who is really in control of the conversation? The question isn't just who's speaking anymore, it's who is listening and what they do with what they hear.